Imagine yourself taking a class with all the attention. You're getting everything clear, but then, all of a sudden, teacher points you out and asks to come on the stage. She only asks you to elaborate the things you understood. But what are you going to do? What are you feeling right now? Let me guess. Almost 60% of the students are confident enough to come up and give a magnificent performance. But what about the remaining 40%? Why are they going to pray like that? Oh God, may this lecture end soon. How would it affect my GPA? What would be my impression on the student sitting in front of me? Why is it so? This is the lack of communication skills that we all have. My name is Filza Patul, and today me and my group members are going to present that how can we improve our communication skills. When you think of an engineer, you probably think of a stereotypical nerd faces, confidence shattered around introvert kinds with the great analytical and technical skills. But what about convincing others of these skills that are highly needed? That's where the communication skills are needed, because communication skill is the ability to talk at any time and in any situation. Communication is a simple process, but showing complexity in some aspects. Different ways of communication are there, but how are we going to engage our audience in that with that type of communication skills? Because technical skills alone are not enough to ensure a successful engineering career or a career in any field. You need to be able to function as a member of a team, as a leader, and as a persuader of your own work. LinkedIn, as you all are aware, that LinkedIn is a professional networking site designed to help people make business connections, share their experiences, resumes, and even finding jobs. According to the Global Trend 2019 released by the LinkedIn, 80% of the companies are looking for the communication skills in the profile. That shows the importance of the communication skills that we all need. You all might think that what is the need of communication? Why do we have to speak? Why can't we sit alone and do our own work? What is the purpose of communication? You might all be aware of Steve Jobs' marvelous presentation of introducing iPhone. It was taken as the best presentation of the today's best presentation. But how did he even start his presentation? There was a line in his presentation that today Apple is going to reinvent the phone. That shows that how much confident he is regarding his work, how much passionate he is regarding his work, how much the effort he gave to his work. And that shows the credibility, that establishes the credibility in his audience that are taking his presentation. Now, what's the third point? Decision making. In our professional lives, we have to make different decisions. But there are some communication traps that we may fall into if you're not in the communication skills, if you are not a good communicator. Two major traps include framing and anchoring. What is the difference between them? Now, as you see on the left side, there is a sailor, and on the right side, there is a person who wants to have the sail. If a sailor asks that he is going to give this car for 7,000 euros, people deviate very slightly from the first value that the person usually starts with. But so the person who is going to have this car says that I am giving you the 5,000 euros for this. Why is it so? Because anchoring is an effect that describes the common human tendency to rely heavily on the first piece of the information that is given. Now, if a sailor starts that he is going to have 20,000 euros for his car, that's the strategy of anchoring, that he deviates very slightly from the first price. He asks that I am going to give you the 10,000 euros for your car. Because once an anchor is set, people deviate very slightly from this anchor, and that shows that the rest of the negotiation that these two people are going to have, the prices are they are more reasonable if the car is still higher than what the car is really worth. Now, what about the framing? That how are you going to present your work? How are you going to convince people that he or she might have your work? Framing is an effect that when our decisions are influenced by the way that the thing is presented. Now, for this shirt, if I ask you $290, you're going to bargain me. You're going to think that no, this is a very high price. But what if on the right side that this is on the sale and you're going to have a sale of $110. You're going to you're very first going to that shirt and probably going to buy it like that. That's how the framing affects our decisions, affects our, and if you're not a good communicator, then these type of traps we can use even to advertise our things, or we may fall into this if we are not a good communicator. Now I would like to invite Mr. Noman to take charge from there.
Public speaking is actually an art. What kind of art? The art how you persuade others. Now, this can be done by a speech to a live audience. One thing you all should need to know, Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, the great leader, has won the Pakistan on the basis of that public speaking. Now move toward the big concept. The big concept is the fear of that speaking. A survey by the National Institute of Mental Health claims that 74% of the population suffers from that fear of public speaking. Wow, that's the big number. You would be surprised to know that. Now move toward the causes of that fear. The first one is the lack of confidence. The lack of confidence occurs due to the need of approval. Now, what is need of approval? For example, you were given an assignment. You solve that assignment, and after solving that assignment, you are showing it to your fellows. See that you are showing it to your fellows and said them, look at that assignment. Is it looking smart? Is it good? Now, this shows the lack of confidence in your abilities. The second one is the self-comparison. Self-comparison causes to find faults in yourself. This also leads to the lack of confidence. A famous author, Sharon Hamilton, in his famous book, Essentials of Public Speaking, said that when we are nervous, listeners are more likely to focus on our negative vocal and visual cues. Now move towards the second cause. Second cause is the lack of attention to audience. Lack of attention to audience occurs when you have no audience analysis. No audience analysis, you are telling them what they actually know, or you are telling them what is going over their head. And the second one is the heavy text slides. When you are showing them heavy text slides and showing it them for a while and just reading their slides, this also leads to the lack of attention to audience. Now look at another survey by the Chapman University students states that American people also have the fear of that public speaking. Now moving towards the third cause, it's the lack of time management. Lack of time management occurs when you are failing to set priority. Failing to set priority means when you are doing the unimportant work at the first and the important one at the last. And the second one is the rushing to complete tasks. For example, you are given a task, you are just in an hour, you are given 2 assignments. You are just going to rush through the assignments and just quickly go through and hurriedly done the assignment. But you are not going to do that in a time. This causes the lack of time management. That's from my side. Thank you very much.
Excellent communication skills is absolutely essential to effective leadership. The leader must be able to share knowledge and ideas to transmit a sense of urgency and intent to others. If a leader can't get a message across clearly and motivate others to act on it, then having a message does not even matter. Next slide. Read, and read some more. Here are some advantages of reading. Reading improves our language skills. It helps us build a better vocabulary. It also lights up new ideas and makes you smarter. Reading improves focus and concentration. Reading also improves your memory. Reading gives us a new knowledge. Keep in mind, as engineering leader, all next slide. Effective listening. Here are types of listening. Appreciate listening, emphatic listening, active listening, and critical listening. For example, one of famous businessman, Richard Branson, tells business people who want to connect with others to communicate effectively. First, listen to what others have to say. Then you can provide a truthful answer that shows you have taken those ideas into account. Next slide. Self-improvement. Talk to yourself in a caring way. Consider how you will reach your goal. Celebrate your success. Do more of what you enjoy. Move to next slide. Audience analysis. Be more sensual. Take in everything that's happening through all your senses. How? By hearing with your eyes. Feel the audience reactions as if it were tactile. Test the ideas in your mouth. By doing this is part of what makes you a speaker with true focus, stage presence, and this enhances your leadership spoken skills. Next slide. Speaking goals. Speaking goal is clearly defined objectives that you want to achieve in life. It helps you to support your main points. As engineering leader, it's very important to know and not forget your speaking goal. As we know, all successful people set clearly defined goals. This gives their life power, purpose, and a sense of direction. This was my part. Welcome, Okas Ali.
Professional engineers are not shut away in the workshops and the labs. They are the heart of the engineering firms and need to be excellent communicators to make sure their colleagues, customers, and sometimes the public understand the importance of their work. As Robert Brown said, if you can speak, you can influence. If you can influence, you can change lives. I'm next slide, please. I'm going to talk about the brief solutions to speaking skills. First of all, you should have good introduction. As Mark Twain said, the secret of getting ahead is getting started. The beginning of your speech is the most important part, and if you don't hit the nail on the head, then sorry to say, you lose your audience immediately. Before you can persuade anyone of anything, they need to know who you are and why they should listen to you. If you are addressing a public meeting, you should set out your role and credentials and those of your organizations that will help build trust with your audiences and give them a reason to take you seriously. And also, you should tell them a story, because people usually don't remember what you say, they usually remember the stories. The only worst thing than listening to someone when you have no idea what they are talking about is to listen to them to ramble on about nothing at all. The key to avoiding either of these scenarios is working out what the people you are speaking to already know and what they will want to know. If there is a risk they are unfamiliar with the technical details and jargon, then keep it simple at first. You can always add more detail in later. As Albert Einstein has said, if you can't explain it simple, you don't understand it well enough. And if you do mention your terms and concepts that may not have encountered before, then make sure you explain them in clear language. Make specific points and back them up or illustrate them with the example, while always trying to relate what you are saying back to the point of the view of the listener. Tone of the voice is very important. According to Richard Strauss, the human voice is the most beautiful instrument of all, but it is the most difficult to play. It is not just what you say, it's how you say it. Getting your tone of voice and style of language right is the vital to keep people interested, engaged, and open. This will usually depend to some degree on what you are talking about. How serious is the situation you are discussing? But There are obvious things that will always apply. Never be rude and patronizing. If someone asks what you think is a stupid question, try not to speak as if you are reading a script. Whether you are trying to remember all the points you want to make, and always try to sound like you think what you are saying is interesting and important. If you don't, then very sorry to say, no one else will be interesting. It is important to understand that not everyone has the same enthusiasm for technology and design that you probably do. What they are likely more interested in is what changes your engineer can make for them, whether that's manufacturing products more cheaply, making a car run faster, or reducing traffic congestion. If you can outline a problem with 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 the solution, then it is the right one. Giving appropriate technical detail along the way, then you should find more people more receptive than if you just bombard them with a grand plan. And at last but not the least, you should be very confident. The only belief that matters is self-belief. You don't convince someone of your argument if you don't seem convinced yourself. Avoiding eye contact, mumbling, and too much self-depreciation or making fun of yourself will make people think that you either don't know what you are talking about or you don't believe it. Instead, make sure you speak clearly and firmly without being aggressive. Use positive language and focus on solutions rather than problems. And make sure you look like a better engineer. And remember that everyone gets nervous. The trick is to act like you are confident, even if inside you are suffering doubts about yourself. And at the end, I am presenting the Global Teaching Speaking Survey result. According to this, the ability to speak confidently and authentically is an essential life skill and a very clear way of measuring your ability in a foreign language. So it comes as no surprise that the vast majority of the 730 educators, a big amount, who responded to our survey believe speaking is the most important skill for their students to focus on, in comparison to reading, writing, and listening, which were each rated as the most important skill by only 10% or under. So we all have to improve our speaking skills because it is very important. According to the Global Teaching Speaking Survey, it is ranked about 70% of the importance.
Our speaking skills are the skills that give us ability to communicate effectively. These skills allow the speaker to convey his message in a passionate, thoughtful, and convincing manner. So why speaking skills are important for engineers? What vital role these skills play in an engineer's career? Next slide. Do you remember the game? How many of you remember this game? In a school, you and your classmates try to pick a phrase and pass it on by whispering it to the person next to you. Then the phrase was passed from person to person until the next person announced the phrase. How much did the phrase change during the game? Do you notice that? The phrase changes too much. As the people relay message from one person to other, the message will often distorted. While the game is full of fun, but it also teaches us important lessons. If you do not produce information properly, it will not be received as planned. Communication skills are vital to success in your professional life and your engineering career. Poorly delivered message can turn into misunderstanding, frustration, or even a disaster. You are engineers. People trust you. Countless lives depend on your shoulders. You can't afford misinterpretation of words. So I will tell you the solutions to this. Before you can pursue anyone of anything, they need to know who you are, why they should listen to you. If you are addressing public meeting, you should set out your role and credentials and those of your organization. That will build trust with your audience and give them a reason to take you seriously. Similarly, if you are writing a job application, you should start by summarizing your relevant education experience. The recruiter will then know you fulfill the basic criteria and it's worth their time regarding reading the rest of your letter. Now my group member, Ms. Rimsha, will continue.
But before going to start, I want to ask a question and expect from all of you to participate in this activity. What do you think? What is meant by growth? Here the Mentimeter code is provided on the slides. Please go and vote for that. I must quote here the saying of Seth Godin's blog, "You are not being judged. The value of what you are bringing to the audience is being judged." Mean the value matters a lot. So in order to have an explain a topic, one must keep the things simple at first. Next slide, please. The only thing worse than listening to someone when you have no idea what they are talking about is listening to them ramble or nothing about at all. This all happens when they are unfamiliar. Just for the sake of example, consider that you are an electrical engineer and you have to elaborate the working of the code. Now there is a possibility that your listeners are not familiar with the term code. All they just know that the word code is just a puzzle or something like that. So in order to avoid such confusion, engineers, and to be on the safe side, an engineer should refer to his code as a computer program, or he's sure that his audience can understand what is he saying. To do this, he can use similar terms, he can use most prevalent terms, and make the things as simple as he can. Next slide, please. Equally, it's just as important not to omit any vital details. The information should be thorough and easy to contemplate for the audience.
In fact, sometimes we need to speak the official slang. In the context, technical terms save a lot of confusion. It is an inflexible need for some jargons, and in some cases, lives may depend on it. Lives depending on it might sound exaggerated, but it isn't, and here's how. A transcript of cockpit communication leading to the 1990 crash of Avianca Flight 52 in New York revealed the pilot did not declare an emergency situation when he reported being low on fuel. The plane crew reported running out of fuel instead of signaling an emergency situation with the words Mayday or Pan Pan, another international distress signal. While in plain English, "we are running out of fuel" may sound like a declaration of emergency, in the context of controller-pilot communications, where there is a specific prescribed phraseology for the declaration of an emergency, this statement would not be interpreted as such. The statement could and apparently was interpreted as a mere concern and not an emergency situation. The plane crashed after running out of fuel. This just shows that what a simple misunderstanding caused by the misuse of words can result in the loss of lives. In a book written by Dr. Estival, she says that not knowing the right terminology, physiology, and using the exact words can be deadly important. So lives actually depend on the words you use. Here are some more examples from the book of how confusions, which could have been easily avoided, that costed lives. One of the prominent one is the Dan Air Flight 1008 in 1980, where pilots appear to have mistaken inbound for outbound and flew in the wrong direction. George Bernard once said, "The single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place." Pilots in the cockpit thought they have conveyed their issue, but in reality, control tower was blank about their situation until the accident occurred. Now Mr. Ramesh will continue.
And without listening to others, without knowing what they want from you, it is impossible to give a productive response. So listening is just as much a part of speaking as talking is, and equally important too. Here are some advantages of effective listening. There are many ways an issue can be approached, but effective listening allows us to approach their problem in an optimal manner, which largely affects the quality of the solution. An optimal approach allows you to make quick decisions, which creates a proficient environment. Opinions don't mix up and less conflicts arise. In this way, reaching an agreement becomes easy. And when you have solved the problem at hand, you can deal with complaints later, which may arise due to some unforeseen details. Now, how to listen effectively? There are 3 basic points that you have to keep in consideration when you're hearing someone speak, so that you may listen to them effectively. Number 1, be patient. To be patient, you should not interrupt them. You must let them finish. You might have a question or you may want to correct them, but it's not appropriate because it is possible that your concern is cleared later on in their dialogue. You might also think you have something important to add, but no matter how important you think it is, if they're talking, it isn't. Number 2, paraphrasing. Repeat their words when they're done talking. Paraphrasing has 2 major advantages. Repeating their words is a way of reassuring that you were listening to them and you know what they were saying. There's also a possibility that your interpretation of their words is not what they intended. So when you paraphrase, like, you were saying this, did you mean that or that? Any misunderstanding will be resolved at the moment, and chance of error is drastically reduced. Maintain eye contact. Look straight into their eyes to validate your presence. When you're talking to someone, your eyes should not wander around the room or their clothes or their hair because it is highly unprofessional and it is even considered rude. You should maintain eye contact at all times as it also validates our presence and it keeps focus from both sides. In your opinion, is the most crucial for a productive response when listening to someone's problem? Majority of the people think eye contact is the most important. Now, you can see from the poll that eye contact is considered most important, then patience, and then paraphrasing. In my opinion, I thought paraphrasing was the most important, but my opinion doesn't matter. It's the public's opinion what matters the most. Now, a survey was initially conducted prior to this presentation, and you can see the difference of the 2 opinions. Eye contact only had 12% votes, and patience had the most votes. So, what do you think the reason of this difference of opinion is? I think that people were not familiar with the terms. So the cause of this difference is that most people didn't clearly know the meaning of the terms they were introduced to. That's why their opinion differed. And that's it for our presentations. Thank you all for your patience and